5 underrated champions for Battlegrounds. Yo, what's up everyone? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into something that's going to help a lot of players. The top 5 most underrated champions for Battlegrounds in Marvel Contest of Champions. Let's be real for a second. Battlegrounds is the best content in the game. It's fast, it's competitive, and there's nothing more satisfying than wrecking your opponent and securing that win. But here's the thing. Every season has a meta. And while the best champs get all the hype, not everyone has them ranked up or even in their roster. But you don't always need the obvious top-tier champs to win. Some champions are straight up underrated. They don't get talked about enough, but in the right hands, they can be absolute game changers. So today, we're breaking down 5 hidden gems that might be collecting dust in your roster, but should not be. Let's get into it. Number 5. Let's start with Storm Classic. And listen, if you're still sleeping on her, you're making a mistake. Storm is an absolute nuke machine when you use her correctly. Her special 2 hits like a truck, and when you stack up those prowess buffs, the damage is just ridiculous. Seriously, one well-timed special 2 and boom, the fight is basically over. Now, let's talk utility. She's shock immune, which is a huge deal in today's meta. So many defenders rely on shock effects to control the fight, but Storm just shrugs it off like it's nothing. And then there's her passive stun mechanic, which is actually insane. If her parry stun gets purified, no problem. It turns into a passive stun instead. This is so clutch against champions like Kingpin and Korg, who usually just laugh at stuns. Storm is an easy-to-play, high-damage champ that a lot of people ignore. If you have her sitting in your roster, start using her. You won't regret it. Alright, next up is Mordo, and I already know what some of you are thinking. Bro, isn't Mordo just an annoying defender? Yes, he is. But he's also way better on offense than people realize. Here's the deal. Mordo's heavy attack is actually crazy. When you charge it up, he gets fury buffs that skyrocket his attack, kind of like Hyperion. The difference? People don't expect Mordo to hit this hard. And let's not forget his astral evade, which, by the way, isn't just for defense. If you ever get stunned mid-fight, Mordo's evade can literally save you from getting wrecked. It's like a built-in get-out-of-jail-free card. People love to hate on Mordo, but trust me, if you actually play him offensively, he's a serious problem. Number 3, Nightcrawler, the Speed Demon. Okay, let's talk about Nightcrawler. After his buff, this guy is a completely different champion. For years, people only saw him as a super annoying evade defender, but now, he's a straight-up assassin. His damage output is insane, and he's actually one of the highest DPS mutants in the game right now. The problem? People just aren't using him because there are so many other top mutants taking the spotlight. And let's not forget, his evade isn't just a defensive thing anymore. Now it actually helps you in fights, letting you dodge attacks and counter way easier than before. If you've got Nightcrawler and you're not using him in Battlegrounds, you're seriously missing out. Number 2, Odin, the Sleeper Cosmic Nuke. Let's be real, most people only bring Odin for his pre-fight buffs. And yeah, those buffs are great, but the actual champion, way more powerful than people give him credit for. Odin's damage is absolutely cracked once you start stacking his buffs. His special attacks hit like a freight train, and once you get him ramped up, he just destroys opponents. Best part? His ramp up is actually super easy. A lot of people think he takes too long to get going, but once you get the rhythm down, he becomes one of the hardest hitting cosmics in the game. Stop sleeping on Odin. He's not just a pre-fight tool. Take him into Battlegrounds and watch him wreck people. White Tiger, the most underrated champ in Battlegrounds. This champ got robbed of the hype she deserves. This champion is criminally underrated, and if you have her in your roster, you need to start using her ASAP. When she was first released alongside Bullseye, all the hype went toward him, leaving White Tiger in the shadows. But here's the thing, she's a beast. Once you understand how to use her properly, power control like no other. White Tiger can drain power like crazy, shutting down power-hungry opponents. Massive damage output. Her special attacks hit hard. She has solid survivability, making her a nightmare on defense too. If played right, she can even counter tricky Battlegrounds metas. The main reason she's overlooked is that she takes a bit of skill and strategy to master. But once you get the hang of her rotation, she becomes an absolute nightmare for your opponents. If you've got White Tiger in your roster and haven't ranked her up yet, do it now. She's one of the most underrated, high-value champions in Battlegrounds, and once you start using her, you'll wonder why you ever ignored her in the first place. And there you have it, folks. The top 5 underrated champions for Battlegrounds in Marvel Contest of Champions. These champs may not always be in the spotlight, but trust me, if you start using them, you'll be surprised at how powerful they really are. Battlegrounds is all about strategy, counterpicks, and knowing how to maximize your roster. Everyone chases the god tier champions. Sometimes the most underrated ones can give you just as much value, or even more, if you know how to use them. So now, I've got to ask, who do you think is the most underrated champion in Battlegrounds? Miss anyone that deserves a spot on this list? Drop your picks in the comments below and let's discuss. And if you found this video helpful, make sure to hit that like button. It really helps the channel grow. Subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications so you never miss an update on the latest strategies and champion rankings. That's it for now. Good luck in your next Battlegrounds run, and I'll catch you in the next one.